today is Rika Rivka Markel. We're going to talk about the law of attraction, but we were talking in the green room, as we kind of talk about our week and what's happening. And you came up with another great topic that I don't think we talk about enough. And that's depression and anxiety. And what does that have to do with the law of attraction?
Yeah, it is interesting because the month of May is also the awareness day for
Mental health awareness. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about depression and anxiety, which is something that most people that I know in the United States and all over the world, by the way, are daily living with. So some people are full of anxiety and other people are full of depression. So first of all, if you look at it from the world that I live in, the world of manifestation, then we think about depression as dwelling in the past, and we think about anxiety as worrying about the future. So it means that when you are depressed or you are anxious, you are not in the present moment. And we know that if we want to manifest something, we have to be in the present moment. We have to think about what we want and pretend as if we are doing it already. Okay. So if you are anxious or you have depression, that means that you are manifesting out of those states of mind, which is, of course, not the best thing to do.
No, it's not. And so you just really spelled it out completely. Depression is the past. It could have happened 2 hours ago, but it's the past. Anxiety is the future. What's the future going to withhold? Are people going to stay with me? Are clients going to stay with me? Am I going to have enough bills to pay? Even if it looks good and the outlook looks great, well, there always could be something else. And you allow that your subconscious to go there. But that's a great way to define both depression and anxiety involving the law of attraction.
Yeah. And it's like when I heard that statement the first time, I can't remember where and how. It was years ago, decades ago, but it opened up for me a whole new view on when I feel like feelings of depression. I can ask myself, what am I depressed about? What am I dwelling in? What is going on? What am I thinking? What is it in my past that is holding me back? And most people know it, like you said something that you regret, or somebody did something to you yesterday or a month ago or 5 years ago or a lifetime ago, and you are still stuck in that feeling, and that gives you that feeling of depression. Or the other way around, you are thinking about something that is going to happen in 6 months or a year. It's not even there yet, but you're already worrying about it. You get up in the middle of the night and you get like this anxious thoughts, and you're like, oh my God, and it's not even there yet. You have to realize it's not in this moment. Whatever it was that was bothering you years ago, or whatever it is that is bothering you that still didn't come yet, it's not affecting you in this moment. Again, let's talk about awareness, which I always come back to every single time we talk. Awareness is key. Be aware of where you're sitting right now and just ask yourself, how is that affecting me in this moment?
The past is how once you allow yourself to be depressed for only, let's say, 1 hour or maybe a day, or you allow yourself to be anxious and you don't realize you're being anxious again, how do you kind of refocus yourself and not feel upset with yourself because you allowed yourself to get that way?
Yeah.
I allowed myself to be depressed. I allowed myself to be anxious. I'm going to be live on this show and tell you that I'm a very positive person 98% of the time. But when I do get there, I really get there. And I have to really reflect. But the difference of making me not have any mental health illness is that I'm able to bounce back very quickly. People who have depression and anxiety a lot of the time are not able to bounce back quickly. And that's a skill I'm glad I have, that I focus on my work, or I focus on things that make me happy, and I'm back to a state of feeling good again.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what do I need to do? And then I'll allow you to go, but I'm just kind of giving this to my audience out there listening in TV land. How do what makes me happy? And then somehow it clicks back. Yes, there's things in the back of your mind. They'll always be back in your mind. But how can you get to back to this state right now in the present at 12:13 on May 16th and say, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm the happiest. How can
Yeah.
I stay in that state? But you feel like you failed.
Yeah.
Like a why and I had a constant more of those longer dwells of not being so intense and happy and it, it can, but it can hit like that. How do you stop that from happening? Or you can't.
Well, you touched on so many things right now, and I just have to remind myself that I don't forget anything, because you really touched on a lot of stuff. There are different stages. There are people that are not even aware that they're depressed. And there are people that are not even aware that they are anxious, because it is their personality. They became that way. Like there's something, let's say something happened 25 years ago. Somebody insulted you and you can't get over it. And you're still dwelling in that. But because of the fact that it is such a long time ago, it became your personality. You're not even realizing that you're dwelling in the past. So that is a level where there is no awareness. Okay. Then you come where you are, or even we stop a couple of, like, you make a big jump and you say, okay, I know I'm dwelling in the past. I know I am anxious about the future. I realize it, but I fall for it all the time. I keep thinking about something that happened to me yesterday. I keep worrying about something that is going to happen tomorrow. And now I feel guilty that I cannot get out of it. So you add like a layer on top of it. You're even going to give yourself hell for not being aware all the time. Okay, so that's a level. There's a huge gap between not understanding and then understanding and then giving yourself hell for it, which of course is not a good thing to do. So the only answer, and every time we come to the same thing, is you have to get back in your heart center. You have to find the balance between being in your head, or the anxiety that you can feel in your stomach, like you feel the adrenaline rushing through your veins. It's like when you're depressed, there is no adrenaline. You're just dwelling. It's like you have no energy. When you are very anxious, there's a lot of adrenaline running through your veins. So what do? You're going to center yourself. And I make this movement because that is exactly what you're going to do. You're going to go from your head and you're going to put all your attention in your heart, because your heart, that's where you are in the present moment, and that's where you need to be.
Mm. And a lot of times in my work day, which is not a work day because I'm an entrepreneur and I get to do what I want when I want, I am in the heart center all the time. Look at me telling my audience this, but it's really true. There's
Yeah,
not any like I'm dwelling on, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do that. All of it's cool.
exactly.
But there are things, and I can't believe you brought up this topic because it just fits so much. So don't beat yourself up. How do you make sure that you don't allow that to come back? Like depression, I would say I don't really get depressed much, but anxious, yes, I do. And it's only certain times. And then the anxiousness with you're getting really anxious leads to a little depression. But we all deal with it. It's called, the blues, the different things, and in some sort of way. We can't be 24/7, but we have to make that shift quickly and get us back into our heart center. And then if you can't, you go through meditation, right?
Exactly.
You go,
Yeah.
you just stop everything and say, whoa, let me take this and the series, but it makes complete sense.
Yeah, I think when you really feel it and it becomes uncomfortable, you have all these emotions rushing through your veins and you have all these feelings and you can't handle it. It's like you're jumping out of your skin, like you can't handle it anymore. then the only thing to do is just go sit, close your eyes, go inside. There's nothing outside that can make it go away. Let me be very clear. There's nothing outside that can make this go away. It can go away temporarily. You can take pills to calm yourself down. When you're depressed, they give you something that you get back to a little bit normal, but that's all coming from outside. You can go and binge watch your favorite series, or you can go and have a drink with friends, but all those things are very temporarily. What the only thing that works is going inside. And that's going to work in a second. Like you go inside, you take 1 or 2 deep breaths in and out. Also, what I always tell my clients is when you breathe out longer, when you have anxiety and you breathe out longer than you breathe in, your body has to relax. There is no other way. That's physiology. You cannot have the same anxiety when let's say you breathe in 3 counts and you breathe out 6, you will calm down. And the more you do that, the easier it becomes. Like I can just sit here and just think about my heart, and it's
Right.
over, because I train myself to do it
Right.
like over and over again. And the same that your depression or your anxiety became your personality, the peace in your heart can become your personality too.
Now, sadness. Is it okay to be sad with the law of attraction?
Why would you want to be sad? It is a very low vibration. So low vibrations, they don't do good. We know that. We discussed this.
So you hold it in even if you have to cry?
Well, there is nothing wrong with being sad, but there is something wrong with dwelling in the sadness.
Just allow that emotion to go, get it through, and then move on to the next
Let
thing.
the emotion come. Don't suppress the emotion. Let the emotion come. Feel it. Feel it. Be aware. Feel how sad you are and acknowledge it, and just let it pass through, instead of like pushing it. A lot of people say, I can't be sad. Whoop, down. That is like a pressure cooker. It's gonna explode at one point. You just allow it, you feel it, you
Right.
acknowledge it, you take a couple of deep breaths in, you look at it, and you let it go. You transform it. There's also a difference between dropping something and transforming it. When you drop it, you don't pay attention to it, which is it's already a good beginning. But transforming it means sitting with it and allowing it to be there until it fades, until it is transformed. That's even one that
And
there's many stages in this.
the thing I learned from Jerry and Esther Hicks is you basically can go from one very fast. It's not going to be this slow that you can really, even if you feel depressed, you feel sad, anxious, you can go right back to, you can move up. But that emotional vibrations of going from one emotional state to the next emotional state, the next emotional state, it takes time. It doesn't happen. So you might go from sadness to anger, and then, going all the way up the emotional level to, okay, to having hope, then from hope to happiness to so in all those stages, and we go through them. And we have to really identify that, and that's the hardest part. But I guess if people watching this show right now are anxious or depressed, they have to understand and identify why and do what.
Yeah, and also I think specifically for people that are new to this concept, and they want to really understand again, and I usually don't say that often, it's so good to have a coach or a mentor or a facilitator or somebody who's going to help you, guide you through it, because you cannot see the label when you're in the jar. You don't see necessarily in the beginning when you start doing this work of self-reflection, or going inside and really figuring out what's going on. For me, when I really am stuck with something, I call my coach and I say, can you guide me through this? And then when she does that, it's like this, it goes so fast. So it's always good to have somebody to help you to do this with, that you don't have to, and specifically in the beginning, when you start the process of really understanding how to do this.
And when you're dealing with specific people that don't have that vibration, especially your clients, and you're going through that, and you end up taking over some of their mindset, you will just be like, whoa, hold on here. What am I doing? Because you feel there, we take other human beings and we feel their emotions and allow those emotions to come to us. We don't want that, especially if it's not the right vibration.
No, but thank God that is something that you can also learn not to do. So there's no need for that. So, but that's for another time.
That's another thing. We could talk about empathy on the next broadcast.
100%.
Because empathetic is the big new buzzword. You have to be very empathetic and have a huge amount of empathy for people. And that sometimes is not the law of attraction. So we will delve into that next time. So go to your YouTube channel, Rika Rivka Markel, follow you on YouTube and check you out in different social media platforms. And I enjoyed the conversation today. Thanks again.
Thank you.
You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.